Welcome back to Viewpoint. I'm Jim Zogby. My next guest is Dr. Izzeldin Abuelaish. She's a Palestinian obstetrician and gynecologist with medical degrees from several universities, including University of London and Harvard. Currently Associate Professor of Global Health at University of Toronto. On January 16, 2009, in the final days of Operation Cast Lead, Israeli tanks shelled and shattered his house in Gaza, killing 3 of his daughters and a niece. Despite the tragedy, he continues his lifelong activism for peace and continues to work. He's founded a foundation, he's established a foundation called Daughters for Life to promote education and health access for women and girls in Gaza and throughout the region. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
An incredible story. I've seen the video. I don't want to play it back. It's wrenching. When you were at home with your family, the bombs went off. You then went on live on Israeli television to talk about it. I saw the look on the face of the Israeli man who was taking your call. They were obviously moved by what had happened. Did you feel that?
Of course, as a human being, the tragedy that I faced, it melts the stone.
Yeah.
Not just the hearts of a human being.
Yeah.
As a human being, with the feeling, with nerves, he must be moved. And think of those innocent civilians in the Gaza Strip who were children, women, and men.
But then we saw you do a press conference at the hospital to talk about it, and Israelis standing around screaming at you, and anger, not at you, but anger at the Israeli televisions who were covering you because they should have been covering Israel. I mean, pretty much the point that Bill was making, Bill Corcoran, who was just on, and that is that there's a kind of Israel living in a bubble, not seeing Gaza. Even with the war, they didn't see it. It reminded me, actually, I'm of Lebanese background, and I remember when West Beirut was being shelled from the air in 1982. In East Beirut, they were going about daily life. It wasn't happening. There was a sense of, I tune it out, it's not there. Is that changing? Are you being received differently in Israel?
You know what happened in Gaza with the war, which was a secret. No one knows what happened in Gaza. Even during the war, I was contacted by my friends, Israeli friends, colleagues, doctors, to ask, what is happening in Gaza? It was a secret.
Yeah.
It was something happening in darkness, during the night. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And this tragedy came to disclose the secret. Look who is killed. Girls who were armed with love, with hope, and the dreams.
Yeah.
The girls and the daughters of the father who delivered more Jewish babies than any Israeli doctor. And I think it moved many Israelis. It entered their houses, their minds, and opened their eyes about the craziness, about what is happening for a human being as they are.
I know you said that you felt your daughters had been selected by God to save other people's lives. The war ended shortly after this. Some people said it was Obama's inauguration. They wanted to stop it before then. But there are others who suggest, as you have felt, that when Israeli television carried this and when Israelis realized that this doctor who they had known had been victimized in this way, it sort of punctured their bubble for at least a moment.
As a believer, with deep faith as a Muslim,
yeah,
I fully believe what is from God is for good, but what is evil is man-made. And I was tested by God and my daughters, where the Israelis know them better than anyone else. Those daughters who were armed by love to Israelis and others. Why I was saved? I was saved just seconds after I left their room. The first shell came. Mm. If I stayed a few seconds, I would be gone with them. And that's why there was a message. And that's why it opened the eyes of the Israeli public, even the international community, who were watching this immoral and unethical practices against innocent civilians in Gaza.
You're in Canada now. How are people in Canada greeting you and dealing with this? Do they welcome your story?
I can say to you the first day just, my daughter Rafa, who is 10 years old,
Yeah.
she went to our neighbors to meet with their children, and they came to our house. And in the afternoon, the neighbor came and he said to me, "You have children? I have children. And the backyard with the wooden fence, why not to take part of it, to make it easy for our children to move?" And that's what do we need. What is practiced in Canada to be practiced in the Holy Land, to smash those mental and physical barriers if we want to take care of our children.
Did the Israelis ever, were they challenged to explain what happened? I saw the story, they said at one point that there were gunmen near the house or in the house, and that they took incredible precautions. Have they ever satisfactorily to you apologized or explained or done anything to compensate
What
for
I
this?
can say to you, there was no reason for my daughters to be killed. No reason at all. But it started as a human being, as a humanity, as usual, to be creative. Instead of being creative in finding ways to save lives, to justify it, there were snipers at the roof of my house. I said, if there were snipers at the roof of my house, why they didn't shell the 5th floor? 2 shells to the 3rd floor where my daughters were. My daughters were expert snipers to be focused to achieve their educational goals. The 2nd day, there were militants. The 3rd day, there were firing. And the most painful, which I think it's shameful to stab someone who is dead. They are dead, innocent girls, to say that they took shrapnels from my niece. And they examined it, and it was from Qassam rockets. It's shame to humanity.
Yeah.
We must be honest and admit our responsibility, and it took 1 month to admit the responsibility about chilling my house.
So they've admitted it.
Admitted their responsibility.
Yeah. Let's go to Morocco for a call. If you want to call, the numbers are up on the screen, and we'd love to get you into the conversation. So give us a call, please. Morocco first. Caller?
Yes, good evening, James.
Good evening.
I would like Dr. Abuelaish, will he forgive the soldier who fired the shell? Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, for me, from the first moment, I looked forward. As a believer, what I have lost will never come back. I lost my daughters. Any other thing in life I can achieve, but to return my daughters, it's impossible. And I must look forward. And forgiveness will help me. I don't want to get the hatred, which is poison. I want to make my daughters and other Palestinian children and other children in this world justice, and to achieve justice for them. And I don't want to waste my time of thinking of hatred or revenge. The antidote of hatred and revenge is the success. My daughter Shada, who was severely wounded, with all the tragedies that she faced, 4 months before she was wounded, she lost her mom. And she was in the high school and spent 4 months in the hospital. And she went back to Gaza to study hard, and she succeeded in the high school 95.5. And now she's studying computer engineering at U of T. We must look forward and challenge those tragedies by our actions and not to accept them. We must feel outraged, not hatred, but outraged, not to accept it for me and for others.
Let's go to